My junior schoolmate posted sexy bed photos of my fiancée. On moments, I was driven mad with anger, but she was nonchalant and said, "What's it got to do with you?" I said, "I'd marry you," but I didn't say I'd love you. She was certain that I wouldn't marry anyone else but her, and also took for granted the promise of the alliance between our two families. Until the pure and pretty campus belle posted a wedding photo of her and me. On moments, she came to question me like a madwoman. I raised the wedding ring on my ring finger and said, "What's it got to do with you? You're not my wife, anyway." My junior schoolmate posted the bed photos of my fiancée. On moments in the sea view room. She was sound asleep in her sexy pajamas. My friends exploded in discussion and tagged me one after another. Tag William, "Look, is that your fiancée on the bet? This room must cost $8,800 a night. Rich people really know how to have fun. Who on earth is her boyfriend? What's going on? They're having such a wild time." When I got the message, I called her right away. However, she was nonchalant on the other end of the phone and said, "What's it got to do with you? Our wedding is still a year away. It's not your turn to interfere yet. What's more, I just promised to marry you, but I didn't say I'd love you." Before I could respond, she hung up the phone. After a while, the junior schoolmate posted another photo. The two of them were scantily dressed, and he had one arm around my fiancée's waist, looking smug. I took off my engagement ring directly and sent a message. "The wedding is off. I'll send the ring back to you. Do whatever you like." Vivian and I grew up together as childhood sweethearts. The elders of our two families arranged our marriage long ago. I thought she and I were in love with each other, and our families were well matched. It was a perfect win-win situation. But unexpectedly, she had one relationship after another. I used to think that she just hadn't had enough fun and didn't want to be tied down by marriage so soon. Because I loved her, I could tolerate it. But now I suddenly wondered, what did she think of me? Vivian made a voice call, full of contempt, and mocked, "Is William throwing a tantrum? Just saying the wedding is off like that. Have you called to ask if your aunt agrees?" The anger that had been pent up in my heart flared up. "What I say represents my family's intention. I'll never have anything to do with you from now on." Vivian was stunned for a moment, as if she couldn't understand. "What are you crazy about? When I was with my ex-boyfriends before, didn't you even invite us to dinner?" The voice of Ronan, the junior schoolmate beside her, came. He sneered, "Oh, your fiancé is angry. Tell him, we're just playing house. Anyway, you'll marry him in the end." "Playing? Do you want to play in the bathroom or on the sofa? If you have a baby, are you going to ask me to be the father?" Ronan continued in a casual tone. "Over there, baby, aren't you going to coax William? I think he's really angry." I felt disgusted. I wanted to hang up the phone only to hear Vivian's cold voice. With a certain tone, "There's no need to coax him. He's always been like this since he was a kid. He'll be fine after throwing a tantrum. Just leave him alone." Then she said affectionately, "Ronan, didn't you say you hadn't taken a first-class flight? I'll book the most expensive flight ticket for you to go back tomorrow." I walked aimlessly in the street. I bought a few bottles of beer and sat by the port on the riverside. Many new messages popped up on my phone. The matter of Vivian had spread in our circle, and several friends came to comfort me one after another. "William, where are you? Do you want us guys to come out and have a few drinks with you? I know about this. Ronan seduced your fiancée. That guy has a lot of ulterior motives. He just wants to latch onto a rich lady." Seeing the name Vivian, I felt so choked up in my heart. Fortunately, the gentle evening breeze from the river gradually calmed me down. I didn't know how much I had drunk. It was getting darker and darker, and the small boats also lit up. Damn it, that damn underscore. No one can cuckold me for the fourth time after doing it 3 times already. No one. I crushed the beer can and roared furiously, but the depression in my heart didn't decrease at all. My consciousness was already on the verge of being trance-like and going mad. "William," someone called my name. I raised my eyes and saw a pair of clear eyes. It was Evelyn, the most mysterious campus belle in our university. Why was she here? The lights by the river outlined her delicate face. Her long hair was dancing with the wind. She pursed her lips and smiled. "Have you been drinking?" I coughed softly and bent down to pick up the flattened soda can on the ground. "No, I'm just playing with picking up bottles." She watched my actions quietly and slightly raised her eyebrows. "Right, how could the always aloof William shout and yell, 'Here for a woman'?" I didn't say anything. The silent air suffocated me. Every second felt like a long year. "Why is your face red? Are you angry because of the breakup? It seems you can't handle it." Evelyn pinched my face with her slender and fair fingers, with a faint smile in her eyes, probably because of the effect of alcohol. I grasped her wrist that was about to pull back and stared straight at her. "Evelyn, would you like to go to my place to drink?" Our eyes met, and I saw a flash of surprise in Evelyn's eyes. Such an invitation between adults was already quite obvious. She was the goddess and first love of all the men in our circle. How could she possibly agree to me? I must be crazy to do such an improper thing. I was just about to apologize when unexpectedly she bit her lower lip slightly and whispered, "Okay." I was woken up by my phone. Evelyn, beside me, was still sound asleep and unconsciously put her hand on my chest. All I could remember was that I pinned Evelyn against the door and kissed her slowly and passionately. She asked me, "William, shouldn't we drink first?" I seemed to reply, "Yo, you are my wine, I'll drink up. First as a toast." And then I couldn't remember clearly what happened next. I squinted my eyes and pressed the answer button on the other end of the phone. Vivian's tone was commanding. "Come and pick me up downstairs in the dormitory in half an hour. I'm going shopping." I lowered my voice and said, "What the hell does your shopping have to do with me? Don't bother me by calling." After saying that, Evelyn frowned slightly and let out a discontented murmur, as if she had been disturbed. Apparently, such a sensitive sound reached Vivian's ears, and her voice immediately rose. "William, where are you? Is there someone beside you? None of your business. We have nothing to do with each other anymore." After saying that, I hung up the phone and turned it off for good measure. I pulled Evelyn into my arms again and gently placed a kiss on her forehead. It was not until noon that I woke up. There was no one beside the bed. I sat up and moved my neck, thinking back on last night. It was like a spring dream that lasted only one night. Surprisingly, my waist was still a bit sore. Evelyn was in the living room, wearing only one of my short-sleeve shirts. Her beautiful legs were long and fair. "Do you have your ID card with you?" She looked at me with a trace of confusion on her face. I bent down and encircled her in my arms, sniffing the fragrance of her hair. She opened her eyes slightly wider, and her beautiful, clear eyes were glistening. "I'll take you to get a card later. It's the kind that allows you to drink at my place for a lifetime." I wasn't drunk at all at that moment. My heart was pounding more violently and rapidly than ever before. An hour later, I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, holding Evelyn's hand with one hand and tightly grasping 2 red marriage certificates with the other. "It's done. We're legally married now," I said. Evelyn met my gaze and smiled slightly, seeming a bit unwilling to be tricked by me like this. "What about our wedding?" I couldn't help but smile too, and pulled her closer into my arms. "We'll make up for everything in the past few days." Evelyn and I have been choosing wedding rings, trying on wedding dresses, and discussing the details of the wedding with the wedding planner. We watched the sunrise and sunset together, and had heart-to-heart talks under the starry sky. She and I had an extraordinary understanding. Surprisingly, we both wanted to hold our wedding in the desert, so we just did it. We started planning how to decorate the wedding venue. She quickly sketched out a scene on a piece of white paper with a pen. At this time, my phone rang again. "Hello, is that Mr. William? The custom-made suit has arrived at the store. When will you be free to come to the store?" I asked in confusion. "What suit?" There was an obvious pause on the other end of the phone before starting to explain. "A few days ago, Miss Vivian came to the store to customize a suit for you. She left your phone number and said you could come to pick it up when it was ready." Secretly, I glanced at Evelyn, covered the phone, and walked onto the balcony. "I don't know anything about this. Please contact Miss Vivian directly. Don't call me again, thank you." What was Vivian up to? When did I ask her to customize a suit for me? At this moment, Vivian called again. "Hello, William. Why haven't you come to see me for days? Stop messing around. I spent a lot of money this time to invite teacher Zach to design the suit for you personally. Go and pick it up tomorrow." Then, her tone became impatient again. "That's enough. Our 2 families will have dinner this weekend and discuss the wedding date. Don't give me a dirty look." Then I was a bit speechless. "I'm already married. I'll tell my parents about it myself. I won't go to pick up any suit, and don't call me again. I'm afraid my wife will misunderstand." Vivian was stunned for a moment, and then shrieked, "Are you crazy, William? Where did you get a wife? I know you're unhappy about my relationship with Ronan. I'm really just playing around with him. Everyone knows that the person I'm going to marry is you. If we get married in the future, I'll really have no freedom at all. You should understand me." I could almost imagine Vivian's angry look, with her eyebrows flying and her face flushed. On the other end of the phone, she had been spoiled since childhood, was favored, and had nothing to fear. She simply didn't know how to care about other people's feelings. Presenting an image of a domineering rich girl who thought the whole world revolved around her. "I'll ask you one last time, are you serious? I'll just say it directly at the dinner table. Then you'd better not regret it." Before she could finish speaking, I hung up the phone. Evelyn had already walked over and deliberately elongated her tone. "Oh, was it your fiancé's call?" I put my arm around her waist and laughed it off. "Of course not. It was Vivian's call. The family alliance involves many factors, but don't worry, I'll explain it clearly as soon as possible. I'll take you home to meet my parents this weekend." Evelyn nodded thoughtfully and said with certainty, "Actually, my parents-in-law will be even more satisfied with me as your wife." In the afternoon, I went back to school. As soon as one of my roommates saw me, he looked me up and down shrewdly. "I feel like you've changed." I smiled faintly and twirled the wedding ring on my ring finger. "I'm married. What are you serious?" Did you really marry Vivian? Oh man, I really sympathize with you. He looked regretful, and his eyes were full of pity when he looked at me. It's not her. My wife's name is Evelyn. You scared me. Vivian is such a crazy woman. 2 days ago, to celebrate the 1-month anniversary of meeting Ronan, she booked the whole bar, opened 88 bottles of champagne for everyone in the bar to drink, and even threw money into the air. You're her fiancé. I really don't know what she was thinking. Wait, you said your new sister-in-law is named Evelyn, the goddess recognized by all the boys in the school, the aloof campus belle. You kidding me? I nodded, seeing that he still didn't believe it. I smiled slightly and took out the marriage certificate. Oh my, how did you manage to chase her? She's way better than Vivian. Bro, could you ask her if she has any girlfriends? I was just about to act like a master when I was interrupted by the sound of a car horn. The window of the sports car was rolled down, and Ronan's side face appeared in our sight. Beside him, Vivian's face was flushed, and her forehead hair was soaked with sweat and in a mess. My buddy and I exchanged a glance, and we both knew clearly, in our hearts, what had just happened in the car. Vivian, I told you that your fiancé wouldn't be able to bear it. He even found us in such a remote place. Ronan unscrewed the cap of the mineral water bottle and gulped down half of it. Vivian's lazy voice sounded a bit cold. William, didn't you say we had broken up? Why are you still coming to find me? If you want to make up, it's not impossible. It depends on your performance. Before I could reply, my buddy couldn't help slapping the doorframe of the sports car loudly. Hey Ronan, are you so poor that you can't afford to book a hotel room? Also, my sister-in-law's name is Evelyn. You're only worthy of someone like Vivian, who my brother doesn't even fancy. Vivian frowned slightly, and anger flickered in her eyes. Shut up, who the hell are you? Haha, next time you make up a lie, make it more believable. William, even if I gave you 100 guts, you wouldn't dare to be with another woman behind my back. I've already picked up the custom-made suit for you myself. It's in the trunk. Take it yourself. I've given you a way out. Aren't you going to take it? Seeing her so angry, I was rather amused. I don't need to lie to you because you're not worth my doing so at all. Some people, once you miss them, you should be thankful. Vivian sneered. Fine, William, I'll block your phone number and we chat. If you come to beg for reconciliation with me again, you're a coward, I said impatiently. All right then. I won't disturb you two for now. Like a rat crossing the street and a cat stealing fish. A few days later, photos of Vivian and Ronan looking at houses were posted online. Soon, she was recognized as the daughter of the Vivian group. This was a much bigger deal than just something on moments paid out of my own pocket to buy trending topics for the blogger. Instantly, it ranked among the top 10 trending keywords, and the comments exploded. Didn't Vivian get engaged to William, the young master of the William group? A long time ago. And who's the man in the photo? Could it be she's cheating? No. People in our community all know that Ronan is the gigolo kept by Vivian. I really didn't expect that she would buy a house for him. He's really climbing up the social ladder by clinging to a rich woman. The protective color of the Vivian family is green. If they still want to get married under such circumstances, I can only say that they are the pure love warriors. Then an hour later, my father called me. His tone was furious. What on earth did the Vivian family give birth to? You break up with Vivian immediately. Forget about getting married. I think you're out of your mind. I'll immediately hold a meeting and cut off all cooperation with the Vivian family. What's the Vivian family so proud of? If it weren't for the orders I gave, Vivian's father would have gone bankrupt long ago. Son, you should make me proud. If you go after her again, you can get out of the William family. He spoke so fast that I couldn't get a word in edgewise. By the time I opened my mouth to tell him that I was already married, he had already hung up the phone. Evelyn, who was in the research room, also saw this news. She directly posted a photo on Moments. It was our wedding photo. I didn't understand her move at first until an hour later when the online public opinion completely exploded. Oh my God, the little princess of the Evelyn family in the capital city got married, and to William. No wonder Vivian could even take a fancy to a gigolo. It turns out that she was dumped and gave up on herself. Ha, the goddess got married so early. My youth is over. I experienced it. Vivian had more than one boyfriend in college. She has a huge fish pond. She loves it when men fight over her. Such a woman is a playgirl. I went home early. I didn't know what flavor my wife liked, so I just bought a bit of everything. If she couldn't finish it, I'd eat it. There'd be no waste. I was swiping my phone to choose food when a missed call popped up. It was from my roommate. When I answered the call, there was a howl on the other end. Help Godfather. Father. I was caught alive by Vivian's dozen or so girlfriends. The scene was so chaotic that I couldn't resist and spilled everything. Before he could finish, the phone was snatched away, and Vivian's voice came through. It's me, William. At that moment, the door opened, and Evelyn's stunning face appeared in my sight. Below were her fair and slender thighs, sexy and alluring. Just one glance at her could easily make one's blood boil. I was so dazed that I ignored the phone for a moment. I just blankly called out, "Honey." Evelyn smiled brightly and sweetly, replied, "Honey, I'm back." The voice on the phone stopped abruptly. After a few seconds, Vivian started crying. "William, why are you still with her? I won't make trouble anymore. Why don't you come to coax me? I didn't really plan to buy a house for Ronan, it's just that you didn't come to find me. So I deliberately had someone take those photos and post them online to make you angry. My girlfriend said that if I ignored you for a few days and then acted cute and coaxed you, you'd come back. I've already told Ronan to leave. Will you come back, please?" I sighed. "Don't call me from other people's phones anymore. I'm worried that my wife will misunderstand." After saying that, I was about to hang up, but Evelyn took the phone from me. "Vivian." "Evelyn, I remember you. I didn't expect that you'd come to Lucan to be." Evelyn slightly lifted the corners of her lips and smiled faintly. "I'm William's legal wife now, and we're already in the stage of preparing for pregnancy. Don't come to find my husband anymore, or I'll make your whole Vivian family regret it. Understand, little girl?" Vivian raised her voice. "Where's William? Let him answer the phone." I was so captivated by Evelyn that I carefully held her other hand. "Honey, don't bother with her. Let's William, I'm coming to find you right now. We'll talk face to face and make it clear." Evelyn hung up the phone and passionately responded to my kiss. 1 second, our tongues were intertwined like a storm, affectionate and passionate. The next second, she bit my lip hard and narrowed her eyes to question me. "Even she remembers me. How could you forget me?" The sound of the wind seeped through the window, and there were more and more marks left by the raindrops. The water stains were thin and long. In the bathroom, I turned on the hot water and the mist filled the air. I recalled in my mind the summer that Evelyn had mentioned. It was a summer vacation, and I insisted on following Vivian to the capital city. The Vivian family spent a lot of money and booked a hotel to get a chance to meet Mason, one of the 4 young masters in the capital city. At that time, in the open-air garden of the hotel, Vivian got into an argument with a girl. Neither of them would give in, and the quarrel grew more and more fierce. Vivian almost fell into the lake due to a loss of balance. Fortunately, I pulled her back in time. However, that girl had already fallen into the water because of Vivian. There were only the 3 of us in that place at that time. The girl couldn't swim and was struggling desperately in the water. Without hesitation, I was about to jump in to save her when Vivian grabbed the corner of my clothes and said, "Don't take the risk and jump in. Let's go back and tell the adults. By the time we go back and forth, the girl in the water might have died." I pushed her hand away and jumped in to hold the girl up. At this time, she had already passed out. I was so worried that I gave her first aid, and she spat out some water and regained consciousness. Somehow, Vivian beside me burst into tears, pointed at me, and scolded, "William, you actually kissed her mouth to mouth. You don't have your first kiss anymore. It's so disgusting. I don't want you anymore." Soon, the adults gathered around and called for a doctor. Because of this incident, the Vivian family got a chance for cooperation. That girl wanted to thank me, but at that time, I was only focused on coaxing Vivian and missed the chance to meet her. Nobody expected that in the end. That girl became my current wife. It wasn't a coincidence. I would never forget that moment when she walked towards me by the river. At that moment, my heart beat faster. It was an indescribable, throbbing, different from my protective feelings for Vivian. I also asked an adult-related question, on a whim, under the influence of alcohol. It turns out that when you think of a person and everything about her, the scenes are like slow-motion replays. It's so magical. Frame by frame, the memories played in my mind again and again. After taking a shower, I wrapped a towel around myself and walked out. Evelyn was wearing a silky smooth and soft camisole, and her wet long hair was draped over her shoulders. She was still holding a hairdryer in her hand, and the whole room seemed to be filled with a hormonal atmosphere. "So honey, I saved your life, and you repaid me by marrying me." Evelyn turned off the hairdryer in her hand, and her cheeks turned slightly red. "You've watched too many movies, William. Then why did you transfer from the capital city to our school and deliberately choose the major that I'm in?" Evelyn gritted her teeth and was about to speak when there was a rapid knock on the door, which grew louder and louder. I frowned and opened the door unhappily. Vivian was standing at the door, soaked all over. 3 of her little sisters were behind her, panting. She took a look inside and looked at me earnestly. "William, I won't mess around anymore. Let's make up." "Ronan, I was just after something new for a while. He was just after money. There's no affection between us. I've already blocked him." The sisters behind her kept saying nice things for her. I rubbed my temples. "I'm really married. There's no possibility for us anymore." Evelyn walked to my side and took my arm. Vivian's eyes instantly turned red. She clenched her fists and trembled slightly. "Then get a divorce. I don't mind. I just want you." "William." Evelyn smiled faintly, let go of my hand, and leaned against the wall. "Fine, William, you can make any choice you want. I don't care." Vivian sensed that she was being mocked and raised her hand to hit her. How pretentious you are. Before she could swing her hand, I slammed the door shut with a bang. I pulled Evelyn over with one hand and pinned her against the door. I pried open her mouth, slipped my tongue into the gap between her lips, kissing her passionately and wildly. She let out an instinctive murmur with her breath, panting hot. The people outside the door seemed to have heard something. They kicked the door hard, and then there was no more movement. After a while, I let her go. Honey, the dessert hotel for our wedding has been booked. When will you come home with me to meet my parents? She didn't respond but asked me instead, do you like me? I nodded and placed a kiss on her forehead. I like you to death. Early the next morning, after sending my wife off, I went straight to the teaching building. At this time, Vivian's mother called. She said that Vivian got caught in the rain last night and had a fever of 39.5 degrees Celsius. She refused to go to the hospital no matter what and didn't want to take any medication either. William, Auntie knows that you two are having a quarrel. But if this goes on, her body won't be able to take it. Just come and see her. She'll only listen to you, Auntie. Then you should call an ambulance right away instead of calling me. I hung up the phone and was about to attend class unexpectedly. After a while, Vivian walked in, supporting herself against the wall. William, I feel so bad. Her face was pale and she weakly leaned against the desk, walking unsteadily. My roommate blocked my path. Stop. Don't play these tricks. You deserve someone better, but not someone as good as William. I shook my head helplessly. I've made it very clear. What exactly do you want? She sometimes frowned slightly and sometimes took deep breaths. After a long while, she finally spoke. Evelyn had her eye on you long ago. The day after you saved her, she sent a cake. I gave it to you to eat, and you said it didn't taste good and that you only wanted to eat the one I made. Have you forgotten? That annoying girl was Evelyn. She should have gone to school in the capital city. When she returned to China, she gave up such a good tutor and insisted on coming here. Moreover, Evelyn has been keeping an eye on you and having people watch your every move. She knows what you do every day, where you go, what you like, and what research you've done. She's so scheming. Don't you think it's scary to be with her? Turned out that Evelyn had been secretly in love with me all along. Hearing this news, it seemed that music was playing in my heart. My wife is so nice. Let's start over. William, I had my limits when I was playing around with those people. Actually, you've always been the one I love in my heart. Will you take me to the hospital? I really feel so bad, she said as if she was about to fall on me. I gave my roommate a look, and he supported her. I'm a married man, and you have no chance. Would you consider me just in terms of appearance? I dare say that throughout China, or even the whole southern region, Vivian pushed him away, and a flash of pain appeared in her eyes. William, would you remain indifferent even if I fainted in front of you right now? I didn't respond. Instead, I took out my phone and called Vivian's father. Meanwhile, I also asked someone to find Ronan and bring him here. Before long, they both showed up at the classroom door at the same time. Vivian's father looked at me with an apologetic expression and started punching and kicking Ronan. Vivian, don't make a fool of yourself here. The William family has already formed an alliance with the Evelyn family through marriage. If you keep offending them, our family will be really doomed. Let him go quickly. Ronan endured the pain and went to help Vivian. Baby, don't be angry. Later, we'll find a deserted place, and I'll count out to you a few times. Vivian raised her voice. Again, get lost. She followed her father and left the classroom, still looking back at me step by step. That buddy of mine shook his head enviously and joked, William, if your life were made into a movie, the title should be Peach Blossoms All Over the Sky. I smiled and asked him while taking out my phone, what about yours? That buddy thought. Lai touched his chin and said, paying off Wabin credit pays for 3 lifetimes the miserable life of me and my poor father who stole my rich second-generation life. I shook my phone and said, I've sent you the wedding invitation. The wedding will be held in the desert. I'll cover all your travel expenses and hotel costs. He raised his eyebrows in delight. Really? Godfather. After a while, Vivian sent a photo. I've never taken off the engagement ring on my finger, even when taking a shower or sleeping. What about you? Didn't I already send that ring back? To her, I didn't reply and put her on the blacklist. Evelyn had already come to the classroom and naturally took my hand, walking out with me. I just heard that Vivian came to find you again. Yeah, she said, there was a young girl who had been secretly in love with me all along. She stared at me fixedly. You already know. I subconsciously looked at her and then realized that somehow her eyes were a bit red. I reached out, put my arm under hers, encircled her waist, and gently pulled her into my arms. She didn't say anything else and buried her head in the crook of my neck. I just feel that I'm so lucky. If you hadn't shown up, I might never have known what it feels like to have a heart flutter in my whole life. Evelyn in my arms seemed to breathe a sigh of relief and tightened her arms around me again and again. On the day before, I was about to fly to the desert with my wife. I had just had morning tea with my father-in-law and mother and listened to them talking about the urban planning of the capital city. Suddenly, my roommate called me. Hung up the first time. Later, he called again and again and again. I finally answered the call. He was speaking very fast and was extremely excited. Bro, look at the live stream. Your ex has gone crazy. She's finally gone crazy. Haha. Walked out of the private room in confusion and clicked on the live stream. Vivian was sitting on the cliff by the sea with her feet dangling in the air. She even tied a big stone with a rope. There were people all around, circle after circle, but they didn't dare to approach her. Even a helicopter was hovering in the sky. She held her phone in her hand and tears kept falling down. Brother William, I'm sorry. As she said this, she moved her body a little bit closer to the edge of the cliff. I was young and impetuous and didn't know what love was. But now that I've lost you, it's like losing the whole world. If there's an afterlife, I definitely won't be so headstrong again. She must be crazy. I never expected things would turn out like this. I frowned tightly and wanted to call her, but then I realized that I had already deleted her number long ago. The Vivian family was quite well known locally, coupled with the fact that she had been on the trending topics before. Now the barrage on the live stream was scrolling crazily. So heartbreaking. It's like that chasing after husband in hell trope. Love deeply if you love, or say goodbye forever. You don't, as the saying goes. You're willing to be stranded for love, and I can also dive into the sea for you unexpectedly. In this day and age, there are still people who can't think straight. Sister, don't be afraid, I'll comfort you. Everything will be okay. The youth have their own wildness, and their bodies are as firm as mountains and rivers. Young people just leave comments. Don't worry about others' comments. Just comment that everyone's gone crazy. The world has finally gone mad. Ha ha ha. Vivian's father called me. I answered the call, but neither of us spoke, probably because it was too embarrassing. Uncle, I got it. I'll come over in a while, he said in a hoarse voice. Thank you. When I arrived, Vivian was crying while humming a song. She ignored everyone's dissuasion. She ignored the special police on the helicopter who were ready to pounce down at any time. She ignored the comments on the barrage. Vivian's mother was so worried that she was also in tears. Suddenly, she saw me in the distance, stood up, and stretched out her hands. Brother William, hug me. Everyone was so scared that they held their breath. I walked over step by step. When she was a child, she would always do this gesture and ask me for a hug whenever she saw me. Alas, but she's an adult now. I squatted down and untied the rope on her feet. She smiled brightly. I never thought of jumping down. I knew you would come. She walked up to me and still wanted to hug me. I showed her the ring on my ring finger. If you have anything else to say it from a distance. My wife will be jealous. Her eyes were fixed on my wedding ring, and her eyes became as dim as if a layer of ash had been sprinkled on them. Is Evelyn really that good? I didn't expect Evelyn to rush over here as well. She wanted to have a private talk with Vivian. Ronan, with a bruised face, walked over, lowered his head, and took out a box from his pants. Bro, I'm sorry I stole the ring. I took a look. It turned out that the ring I had sent back was secretly taken away by Ronan. Just consider it lost by me. You can keep it if you like, Ronan stammered, but she sued me in court. I'm really sorry, could you please help me and persuade her? When we were together, she was happy to. She couldn't have sued me just for tens of thousands of you, right? And I can pay compensation. Please, I'm begging you. He wiped his tears as he spoke. When she was having fun with me, she clearly said that she wouldn't do that kind of thing with me. Anyway, it was just for fun. She thought I was humorous and could please her, not like you, who just stayed in the laboratory all day long doing research like a nerd. You're the most important person to her. She'll definitely listen to what you say. Please, bro, can I count on you? I rubbed my temples. The door opened. Evelyn winked at me, and Vivian's mood had stabilized a lot, only to hear Vivian say, missing you is just temporary. I believe that one day you'll get tired of your feelings for Evelyn, then you'll be mine. William, an oasis was set up. In the boundless desert, Evelyn and I walked on the red carpet. The whole scene was romantic and solemn. After exchanging rings, Evelyn carefully took out a necklace. My initials were engraved on it. It was the necklace that I had lost before. She put it on for me. Finally, I can return it to you. Thank you, William. I love you, honey. The next second, she stood on tiptoe, gently touched the back of my head, slowly closed her eyes, and her bright red lips kissed mine. Everyone in the audience burst into applause. The sun in the desert was so scorching, not just the sun,